Sterling Marlin looked very formidable in that last training period yesterday afternoon. He looked strong. Also, Waltrip looked pretty good in that last hour following the 300. Now we have one car coming on pit road. It may have tapped the wall. It looks like it's Bodine. Limping on a pit road, right front tire down on car number 26, the Kenny Bernstein car.
Boy, they have had some tough luck here during speed weeks. He demolished a car in the 125-mile qualifying races. Now it looks like that he has scraped either another car or the wall one. Having trouble getting the jack under it. Is that tire flat? You can see the coming apart as he came into the pits.
And that happened right up here in turn 4, where he was brushed by Bobby Hamilton, stuffed into the wall, and came almost head-on across the track into the inside retainer. Lap down is Brett Bodine. Up in front, Davey Allison stays in first. Crew working to put Brett Bodine back in this race.
Got a problem under the car there. Yeah. And the car's in the wall.
And there's trouble over in turn 2.
2 cars in the wall. That is Rick Wilson in the number 8 car, and right behind him the man who won the 400 here back in '87, Greg Sachs, and a little fire coming out from beneath Rick Wilson's car as they kept them up in the wall.
Fortunately, they were able to keep them up into the wall, and that's what they wanted to do. They did not want to careen down across the track in front of the other cars, so they were able to keep them up there. Both of those cars look like they're damaged too much to continue, but we'll see.
That's a carbon copy of what happened to me on my one and only Daytona 500. Went into the wall just coming out of one, and my only thought was all those guys have been pestering me in the garage for weeks. Don't come off the wall, and did exactly that. Just held it on the wall.
Rick Wilson had tried to make a move. He was trying to move around Rusty Wallace. There you see it, and gets up in the wall. Greg Sachs getting caught up in this.
Rick Wilson did well to hold that up in the wall after that, because it comes around, slaps the back, but he's just determined to make sure it stays up there.
Sachs in the Navy car, the 18. Wilson driving for the first time for the Stavola brothers. Walking away, Bartow, Florida's Rick Wilson, angry and disappointed.
Talking to Greg Sachs, they're explaining what happened to each other. Well, a lot of side-by-side racing back in the pack, but up front is for second place as Ernie Irvin tries to take the measure off Davey Allison. Here's Bill Elliott now as he makes his way on to pit road. He'll definitely go at least a lap down. You see the blue flag is out, so he can pit now because he has a blue sticker on the windshield of his Ford number 9. Let's go to the pits and Dave Despain.
Well, that's a remarkable bit of good fortune for Bill Elliott in the midst of some bad fortune. The bad fortune, of course, is the flat tire. And the good news is he is able to change it here, coincidentally, by being on the correct lap for his team to pit. He's able to pit and change the 4 tires without penalty. Now, they will go all the way around. They will change the tire that was flat, but while they're at it, they'll come on around, they will fuel the car and make a 4-tire pit stop. So for the Elliott team, wearing black armbands here today in commemoration of Mike Rich, their fallen team member killed in Atlanta last year, they make the first green flag pit stop of this 1991 season. They make it under the new rules, and they make it as beneficiary of those new rules. And Elliott is out, and it was a lengthy stop.
39 seconds, Dave.
Well, I have to take issue with Dave Despain now. I don't think that was very beneficial for him at all, for Bill Elliott.
There's trouble on a car that was running up front. The fire is coming out of the Jimmy Spencer car. He was a lap down, but Jimmy Spencer's car, and here's Jeff Purvis spinning around in car number 51.
And Jimmy Means is in the wall. Phil Barkdoll crashing. 5 cars in trouble out of turn number 4.
Spencer is out of his car. You can see him. He jumped out on the grass.
Coughing badly there. I guess the fumes from whatever it is that's burning on that car. If it's any plastic going, that won't be good for him.
A lot of smoke pouring out of car number 98.
He probably breathed in some of the smoke because the inside of the car is completely filled with smoke. They'll get him now and get some oxygen in him very quickly.
Jimmy Spencer, who was involved in a couple of incidents yesterday in the 300-miler.
And, of course, Bill Elliott now does get his lap back.
Well,
or will he?
He was about to go 2 laps down and he got back out. I think if they had stayed up to full speed, they would have lapped him twice, but he stayed out in front of him as a result of the caution coming out.
See, I have to take issue with Dave on that he was a beneficiary because he just happened to be able to come in on that blue lap, because he basically lost a lap by dragging around to make sure that he waited for the blue lap. He lost a lap. Did in fact Spencer's engine blow, Ned, and leave oil down there, which caused the ensuing mayhem?
Yeah, I think that's what happened, David, and that's why it caught fire.
Let's take a look-see.
He was running in that front pack of cars, although he was a lap down. See if we can see what did happen. And here's Jimmy Means.
This is
apparently, yes, he must have hit some oil and spun around.
Yeah, they were getting a report now that the engine did go away, and there's the Neil Bonnet car, the number 51. It's being driven by Jeff Purvis from Tennessee.
I guess that you can't see very well out of this booth, but there's probably a fine patina of oil on that track.
Let's take a look at that race in the pits. Earnhardt was first going in. Now he's ninth. Kyle just swapping a spot. And here comes Sterling Marlin on a charge.
Now, those cars didn't pit during this caution, so that's the reason Earnhardt came. He made a good pit stop, but he came out behind the cars that did not pit.
Kyle Petty in the 42. Yet to score a top 10 finish. Buddy Baker, car number 88. And we got a spinner coming out of four. It's Barkdoll. Out of control, looping down into the grass. Let's hope he doesn't get back up on the racetrack. Getting through his Gant. Strickland, Schrader, and the rest of the field gets on the binders.
Robbie Gordon scrapes down the wall there. Ooh, that could have been a nasty moment. Barkdoll's screen blew out, or half his screen blew out.
He looked like he was headed onto his roof. You could see the car lift a couple of feet.
And one thing that perhaps helped to keep him from getting on his roof, maybe we can see those little strips on top of the roof. You see those little rises right on each side of the car on the top of it? Those were put on there to help to press the car down if it gets into a spin.
Yeah, these cars before with that big ride height, big ground clearance, once they turn sideways, they turn into a wing. And we saw some pretty disastrous things a few years back.
Well, here he is, the yellow car on the inside. He drifts up into another car on the outside, loses control. You can see the windshield fly out, and look how the car gets off the ground, the right side of it. Then it lands back, gets on the grass. Fortunately, it stays on the grass for a good period of time. The windshield still flopping, or a portion of it at least, and he stays on the low side of the racetrack, and everybody else gets by.
Another look. Phil Barkdoll, 53 years old, out of Arizona.
Sliding wide there.
Tapping another car.
That was the car of Mickey Gibbs that he brushed with coming off the turn.
It gets right up in the air there, but just not enough speed to lift it right off the ground.
Remember 4 years ago, the 125-mile qualifiers, Barkdoll upside down in the tri-oval, into the wall backwards at 190 miles per hour. Ooh, that's where you had your heart in your throat as you saw Harry Gant coming along and no place to go. Under caution once again here at Daytona in the 500. Under caution here at Daytona after 460 miles. There have been 8 different leaders. Lead changes, 18 of them. Average speed a meager 155 miles per hour today. 7 cautions, 30 laps, and 10 cars have fallen by the wayside. Those cars are out of the race. We can't give you the, well, I can give you Richard Petty for sure. He's the latest. Jeff Purvis is out, Swindell, Greg Sachs, Jimmy Spencer, Buddy Baker. Michael Waltrip is out. Those are some of the folks that will not be around for the checkers today. Buddy Baker, Dave Marcus, Morgan Shepherd, Jeff Bodine from fatigue. We saw him in real trouble down there on pit road. And here's Richard Petty, car number 43, shaking his head just a few moments ago as they work on the back end of his car. Let's look again at what happened here on the back straightaway to bring around this 7th caution of the day.
Well, we see Petty's car already spinning around and backs into the outside retaining wall. You see the damage that was done to his Pontiac. He gets it going straight and then it spins around again. Down on the inside of the track.
Yeah, done that car no good at all, but we don't quite know what set it going.
Working on Richard Petty's car. Big story in the Charlotte Observer by Tom Higgins yesterday. talking about the potential that 91 might be the last full season for Richard Petty. And then he would be running a going away tour and run limited events after that. How do you feel about that, Ned?
Well, Richard Petty has said for a number of years when that question is asked, he said, now when I decide that I'm going to make a change in my career, I'll get everybody together and tell them about it. But Tom Higgins, you know, he's a great writer, and he usually has a lot of substance to what he puts in the paper. So it'll be interesting to see what does happen.
There you see the 7-time winner of the 500. Had such a great run in the 125s. Beat out Hut Strickland by inches for second place to the line. Right now, it's a long afternoon for the King. 188 laps complete as they come to the stripe. 12 to go. And it's Wallace, Waltrip, Earnhardt, Irvin, Kyle Petty, the top 5, Rick Maston 6, Joe Ruttman 7, Sterling Marlin 8, Derek Cope 9, Davey Allison back there in 10th. As they wheel down into the first turn.
Ken, I wonder if Rusty Wallace has enough gas to go. I mean, we're told that when he pitted last, there was something like 60 laps to go. And I don't know if he can make that, stretching it a long way, so we'll just see. But he's got more than gas to contend with right now.
Here comes the man in black, Earnhardt to the inside. Trying to win the race he's never won. 48 Winston Cup victories. But the Daytona 500s elude him. He's won everything else here. The 400 in July.
Whoa,
one car in the wall.
Wallace.
Wallace slams the wall on the outside. Another car breaking loose. Derek Cope spinning to the line.
And Darrell Waltrip in the pits.
Yeah, Darrell Waltrip in trouble.
Derek Cope.
4 more cars right here at the start finish line. Blowing tires. Caution is out.
Hut Strickland and Harry Gant getting locked in together there. Well, that was one of those calamity corner. Epps again coming off the corner there.
Harry Gant's car badly torn up.
Ooh, going up.
That's Hut Strickland's number 12, all torn up.
Very badly torn up.
Both ends of his Buick.
Seven cars involved. And look at Waltrip's car, the 17 in the backstretch. Stevie Waltrip, concerned. They made such a run, you could see him coming right up the middle. Darrell Waltrip has been snake bit again by Daytona.
That same corner, the one that he just hates more than any other corner in racing, the same one got him again. Rusty Wallace appeared to start that off, but I think he got nudged into the wall by that clutch of cars as they came round 4. Obviously, as he had said, 13 laps to go. This was all getting pretty desperate.
He's a little hot right now. He crawls into the ambulance for the mandatory checkup. He looked at his race car first to be sure that it would not be able to continue.
As you watch these replays.
There we see Rusty Wallace really seemed to be all on his own when he set. We'll have to have a look at that again, I'm afraid.
The radio is saying he feels he was tagged by Kyle Petty. We need to look again.
We need to go back a little bit further than that to see what happened. What happened? Cope, see, did
Derek Cope's car
spun up onto the
Strickland car.
And then that Harry Gant had nowhere to go, and he ran into Strickland.
Bounced him down to the inside.
Okay, here we are. There's Kyle Petty down on the inside, the green car.
Yep.
He might have touched Rusty and
just
got him
tagged
around.
the front, didn't he?
Yep.
Took the nose.
And he slams hard down to the inside.
Rusty Wallace owns what, about 24% of that car, and Don Miller, and the majority owner is Roger Penske, but Rusty has a piece of it.
Driver's eye view of the whole ghastly schmozzle as it takes place in front of him.
Rusty Wallace walked to the ambulance, going in for a checkup. Let's look again from this high angle.
That's the 3 cars there, just at the behind the lead car, which is Dale Earnhardt.
There's Kyle down on the inside, and there he does just slip up into maybe touching Rusty just a little bit, and Rusty's car goes out of control, collects Waltrip down on the inside. Then we see the red car of Derek Cope spinning around in the middle of the pack, and then he's going to spin back out in front of the track.
Let's look at it here.
Ernie Irvin in the yellow car. Yep, he's definitely leaning on the front of that car of Rusty Wallace.
Yep, he did clip him just enough.
Lucky is Rick Mast, unlucky Waltrip.
And unlucky there again, the back of his car coming off the floor there.
One of the unluckiest right there. It's mandatory. They must take them to the field hospital after they get a piece of the wall here. Dave Despain.
Well, let's put that question to Kirk Shelmerdine. Is that car as good as you would like to have it?
Well, I think the cars are awful close. We think Dale can do the job for us, and we're just sitting here watching right now.
You know, in a 5-lap race, Earnhardt would be the guy to bet on, but he obviously backed up pretty dramatically when Irvin shot through. But there's nothing wrong, huh?
No, we're doing okay.
Okay, well, they say they're confident here. Let's go to Mike Joy.
And they're confident here as Ernie Irvin whistles by. Irvin was slow coming up through the gears on the restart. Crew chief Tony Glover said he thought he hung back a little too far. But every time the two black cars come past side by side, that's a break for Ernie Irvin's chances to win the 500.
And there's trouble off the turn 2.
Ernie Irvin in front, and Earnhardt.
Davey Allison. Davey Allison and Dale Earnhardt and Davey Allison both out of this race.
Ernie Irvin racing back to the line with a big advantage. There's Davey Allison's car coming to a stop. Ernie Irvin coming down. If it finishes here under caution, it'll be the first Californian to win this race since Marvin Panch back in 1961. Ernie Irvin's number 4 streaking across the line. Rest of the field coming by. The 28 car about where it rolled. Kept on going not too long ago.
Kyle Petty spinning in turn 4.
Well, look at the damage on his car.
He must have been involved in that fracas back on the back straight.
Now they're trying to get Davey Allison's car off the bank.
Dale
Ernie Irvin,
Earnhardt
of course,
crosses
the
the
leader.
line.
That all happened behind him.
Ernie Irvin is in first. Sterling Marlin now finds himself in second spot. In third, car number 75, Joe Ruttman.
Kyle Petty car's wreathed in smoke there. I don't see any flame, but a ton of smoke. So it looks like this race belongs to Mr. Irvin with just 2 laps to go.
$2 million at stake. The number 4 car of Ernie Irvin pulling away, getting the advantage. There's Davey Allison stuck on the backside over by the lake, climbing out of car number 28. Ernie Irvin coming to the line and will win the 33rd annual 500 at about 55 miles an hour. Thank you. Hand out and waving. Irvin in this surprising, unbelievable finish to the 500 as Earnhardt and Allison get tangled up. Kyle Petty on the back straightaway with 3 laps to go.
And there's the jubilation.
Look again at what happened here. On
There's
the
Davey
inside.
Allison. Oh, Davey on the outside, Earnhardt down on the inside. Earnhardt's car breaks loose. The rear end of the car they didn't touch before it broke loose, and he gets into Davey just a little bit. Ruttman gets by. Sterling Marlin gets by. Here's Kyle Petty. He gets collected up. Boy, the car going up off the ground.
Nearly squeaked through. Davey Allison really was terribly unfortunate there. He just touched that wall.
From Earnhardt's view, watch what happens.
You see, starting to get loose on him. Hood starts to lift up. There you see Kyle Petty jumping over the hood of the car. That could have been nasty there with Kyle and Earnhardt.
In car of Davey Allison.
He was on the outside of Earnhardt. And there you can see the lick when Earnhardt touched him and it threw Allison out of control.
Here he comes, headed for the infield and into that dirt protective bank to keep him out of Lake Lloyd.
Gonna hit that bank real hard.
Sad ending for Davey Allison, who had sat outside of the front row. And the 1991 winner of the Daytona 500 is Ernie Irvin, the Morgan McClure Chevrolet.